The acrid scent of gasoline stung my nose as floodlights pierced the 3 a.m. Darkness, illuminating my front yard like a crime scene. A woman's shrill voice shattered the silence, demanding I cut down my century-old oaks. Climbing day blocked community sunlight. She waved, crumpled violation slips, her manicured finger stabbing the air as if she owned the neighborhood. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, phones, recording, whispers spreading like wildfire. I stood still, my pulse steady, the injustice burning hotter than the night air. She was the HOA's self-appointed queen, a Karen with endless arrogance. But what she didn't know was that every dollar of her HOA empire once fueled my rise. She had stormed into the yard of a sitting state senator. Years earlier, I had scraped and fought my way into public office. From late nights drafting policy to door-knocking campaigns, I had built everything on grit. This home, nestled beneath those towering oaks, was my family's safe haven. The trees weren't just shade, they were history. The roots of my late father's planting, the backdrop of every family photo, the swing where my children once laughed. This was more than property. It was legacy. But Karen and her HOA board viewed it as leverage, their arrogance swelling with each code notice they printed. That morning, an official letter slid into my mailbox. It wasn't tea. A warning, it was an ultimatum. Cut the trees within 14 days, or face daily fines. And that's when the real battle began. The harassment intensified like a storm. Bright orange violation stickers plastered my door, curling under the summer heat. Anonymous notes dripped with threats. We control this neighborhood. The HOA fined me for imagined offenses: grass, length, fence color, even a phantom noise complaint. At night, the crunch of gravel outside revealed her minions circling in golf carts, snapping photos. The sour stench of rotting eggs smeared on my mailbox one morning confirmed this was no longer petty, it was war. Friends grew distant, whispers poisoned by hatchaway propaganda. My family shrank indoors, blinds drawn against the endless scrutiny. Every slam of a car door echoed like a warning shot. Still, I endured. But what they didn't realize was that every insult, every threat, every fine was quietly being documented. Behind closed doors, my hidden power awakened, not through fists, but through law. I summoned police attorneys, local reporters, neighbors once silenced by fear. Every fake fine, every harassment note, every midnight photos became evidence stacked in folders. Whispers spread of who I really was, and some board members began to falter. My staff uncovered the HOA's corruption, misused funds, illegal elections, contracts awarded to Karen's relatives. I waited patiently, a predator letting arrogance seal its own fate. Soon, drones buzzed overhead, not for intimidation, but for aerial proof of their trespassing. The first cracks showed when a journalist called me for comment. The board's fortress wasn't built of stone, it was paper, and I held them out. The neighborhood sensed change, though the HOA clung to its power, unaware the clock was ticking. The HOA made their boldest move yet. An emergency board meeting held without notice, voting to seize control of my property through fabricated liens. Karen strutted into my yard with hired muscle, waving papers like victory banners. But that's when I unleashed the storm. A sheriff's cruiser rolled in, siren wailing, deputies stepping out with warrants in hand. Cameras flashed as reporters swarmed, microphones ready. I stood firm as the documents were read. Allowed embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy. The board's faces drained of color, their arrogance melting into panic. Karen's shriek cut the air, but it was drowned by the clatter of handcuffs. The neighbors, once silent, erupted in cheers. Years of abuse collapsed in a single moment. Justice wasn't just coming, it was here, and it wore a badge. By week's end, the HOA lay in ruins, bank accounts frozen, board members indicted. Karen's empire crumbled. Property values soared as the shackles of corruption fell away. My oaks stood untouched, their leaves whispering freedom in the breeze. Neighbors gathered in my yard for a cookout, laughter replacing the hush of fear. The swing swayed again, children's voices ringing under the canopy. I pledged part of the legal settlement to community improvement sparks, scholarships, a library in my father's name. Peace returned, not because I was a senator, but because truth had won. As the sun set behind my trees, I wondered, what would you do if Karen stormed onto your lawn at 3 a.m.? Have you faced an HOA nightmare like this? Subscribe and share your story below.